Good morning, Mazi Tinubu.
Good morning.
Yes, it has been said that Nigerian democracy is now a chronic cartel where the governors, ministers kiss the ring of the emperor, Tinubu. What's your submission to that? I mean, I haven't seen what happened after the election whereby some post politicians went there and they were all kneeling down and doing all manner of shenanigans. And what's your take?
For some time, we see also a top politician saying that Tinubu is operating like an emperor. You know, it will be difficult to dislodge him in 2027. That is recently where a certain top politician made that statement. But it looks like, Tinubu understands Nigerian factor very well, and he is using it for his own advantage. Tinubu, democracy in Nigeria has been that of the poor, being democracy themselves, not the rich and the political class. Democracy looks like it is a threat. I can borrow a word from the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, who came out to say that democracy is not working in Nigeria. That takes us back in the kind of democracy we run. Is it in line with other democracy principles around the world? Why is it that the democracy in Nigeria is not working? Why are we always, not getting everything right in all ramifications? So that tells you that in Nigeria, we have not been able to give it a proper practice. Democracy by its definition. Democracy is a government for the people by the people. What does that mean? That those that are appointed at the position of authority are there as servants because they are authorized, they are delegated on behalf of the rest. And those people have the very right to recall them at any point. That's what democracy means. That's what the government principles of democracy.
But Mr. Tinubu, democracy has been unabated, uninterrupted since 1999. But it seems since the last 16 months, this democracy is taking a new turn. People are saying that this is a familiar tactic by Tinubu. The way he stealthily suppressed Lagos and turned it into his own personal enterprise. Is it that Tinubu will or might turn Nigeria into a personal enterprise? Because it seems now like all positions are aligned behind him, and then it seems not to be an opposition. I mean,
I saw it coming. He's going to.
And can we say Tinubu is a Democrat?
I wouldn't say he's a Democrat. Because if you say somebody is a Democrat, the only person that came closer to that tag is Yenadua or Jonathan. Between these two people, we can say, one of them very carefully, very close to be a core, a Democrat. But you see, this APC government, I've not seen anything, to democratize their personality, So, but the fact is that that's what I told you earlier. I made it very clear earlier on. The Jagaban himself understands the Nigerian factor, and that's what is the Nigerian factor. Anywhere we Bele face, anywhere I can lay my hand on something. They are running a government, not based on selflessness. It is based on selfish interest. So if on that era now, wherever you find that people are moving towards, all of them will get towards that direction. It's just like other democracies in the world, where people work based on ideology, where people believe that, this is my ideology and this is what I believed in and this is my direction, I'm going to work to get this kind of philosophy or understanding or reasoning, pass to other, or even make it, something that people that can embrace. Somebody sat down and created the philosophy of democracy. Somebody did it and put it out there. That's what Obasanjo is saying, that if democracy is not working in Africa, yeah, you can see it looks like it's a threat to Africa, because maybe it gives servants, those who are supposed to provide service, that opportunity of corrupting the system, and making it look as if it is a personal right, to submerge the will of the people, to submerge the collective resources of the people in their own private pocket, simply because they were elected to occupy a particular position. So democracy in Nigeria, for me, they have not actually got it right, because the kind of people who put in position of leadership have not been able, to give out that, patriotic leadership that is required to engineer, to force development, to force good governance, to force leadership, to make things grow, breed, from the scratch. We have not seen such things from them. But what we understand clearly is that this type of democracy can only survive where people are being subjected, not based on service they are giving. In that kind of setting, they say it is democracy. For me, it is not democracy. Nigerian independence has always been questionable. We are about to celebrate 64 thereabout. I'm not even interested to know, how many years, but you understand about it's an era that we have to look into it and talk about it in this platform, very clearly. What we are expecting from Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not what he is actually doing. But let's see, since he's gearing towards, trying to reshuffle his cabinet, maybe we are going to see a little bit more of technocrats, even though that there is fear, that these present people he wants to bring into power might be the real, Lagos boys or, Jagabanists who are ready, to make sure that he consolidates and squeeze any opposition ahead of 2027.
Why Nigerians are in dilemma of this poor performance of Tinubu? In a few days' time, we are looking up to October 1st, and the hungry Nigerians and angry Nigerians are working on a protest. But instead of the National Assembly to discuss this, in the Hollow Chamber, they are discussing about the issue of Bobrisky, an alleged homosexual. I mean, this again makes me ask you, it seems Nigerian democracy is just a show of drama and clownish.
It's just because it has to do with, a famous lawyer getting involved, Femi Falana, and they want to use that means, to kind of continue to paint his image, on the basin. That's why they picked that Bobrisky issue, because Femi Falana is involved. If it was any other person, it wouldn't have gotten to that level. You know that Femi Falana has always been trying to, get the position, of the masses on policies that the government.
So you are saying now that the National Assembly are only interested to do everything possible to bring down Femi Falana, who has been a dissenting and a threat to them?
Very clearly, we don't play games there. We saw him intervene during Nigeria Labour Congress. We saw him intervene, when the protesters were charged with treasonable felony. We saw him, saying that the protest will go on. We saw him, taking a position, against what the government actually expected. We know he's one of the renowned civil society human rights lawyer currently now in Nigeria. We do not have any other person to take up that matter. And for some time now, Femi Falana has shown some level of morals, and activism and criticism about some of these government policies. So, and it's a heavy weight, no matter how you look at it. So, when it comes to that kind of issue now, they're just bringing it up to make sure that they paint a particular picture against Femi Falana. But people, Nigerians understand what is going on. That Femi Falana has higher morals than most of them there. Even though this kind of issue came out that has been investigated, and the investigation is still going on. Now, but we do not expect, the Senate, the presidency, or even, to come to descend so low to start talking about somebody now who have no influence, who have no youth influence, who have no morals, somebody who is a bad influence in the society, and they start talking about such person instead of looking at what they are supposed to be doing. I know, because the Nigerians are not putting pressure on them. Most of them are nonchalant completely. They do not know how to do things properly, or even how to carry Nigerians along and speak to Nigerians, and let Nigerians go into whatever policies they are trying to get formulated for a proper implementation. So that is by the way. But the center of attraction is that Bobrisky is a bad influence, no matter how you look at it. So anybody that is seen around him, associating with him, either by omission or commission, that person means that he has some questionable character too. You understand? For them to talk about him, we don't know the source of this man, Bobrisky. Bobrisky should be thoroughly investigated. Whether they are using him politically, we should be able to know whether the source of income should also be questioned.
But Mr. Chinedu, in that revelation, it was said that Bobrisky had to pay over 15 million for the case of money laundering, because people are saying Bobrisky is like an SPV politicians use to launder money.
It's very possible because for him to have gotten a private service apartment and everybody believes that he's in jail, he is not in jail anything. You understand? But for him to come out and say, he has to bribe his way to get out about 15 million for them to keep him, from jail and all that is something I don't really understand. And though a kind of suspension that is going on currently now, the government has taken up those things, and the people who are involved in, who are named or who are supposed to be know how Bobrisky's ordeal in the prison should be or how it went, has already been suspended from the line of duty. But it's not an issue to discuss about, because we shouldn't mention it in a society, because it will become a menace. So basically, the question is, everybody has come to accept their fate in Nigeria, except the Igbos. So they can go ahead and do whatever they like. October 1st, well, I don't think that is possible. Independence. Nigeria is not yet a republic, and Nigeria is not yet a nation. Nigeria is just struggling to define her identity.
Thank you, Mr. Chinedu. A country where we find ourselves that the National Assembly members would rather discuss on trivial issues over important issues. It's so unfortunate that in a few days' time, Nigeria is supposed to be 64 and there's nothing to show for as a country. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, there's nothing to show for. Actually, you understand, they said whether we are still crawling, I don't know, I'm not sure we are still crawling. We have not even learned how to, stand, talking about crawling. Well, keep hope alive, that's what you tell anybody. I hope that the new ministers that are going to come in, if actually he's going to carry out a
Mr. Chinedu, you are talking about hope. Don't forget, the agenda of this president is renewed hope. I know what we have experienced.
There's nothing that is not actually going to be renewed hope. It is hope renewed. Because if you are going to depend on that, I do not see anything renewed about hope. He's preparing for some other state elections. He's preparing to take over the states. He's preparing to run a one-party system. But the fact is still remains, no matter how you look at it, he's still the president. So whatever happens, he will be called will be held responsible.
Thank you very much for that brilliant submission, Mr. Tinubu.